This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to support the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Hi, LeRon.
Hey, Corey.
LeRon, I have news for you.
What's the news?
This is the last Boss Rush Podcast in this office.
That is that an achievement or is that I don't know.
He's leveling up.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. I know why you're saying that, but man, I bet people listening that just hit them the wrong way.
I'm sure it did. That's fine. Speaking of hitting the wrong way, also joining us is PK Power, Pat Klein.
Damn straight. If I ever hit the right way, then buy a lottery ticket.
No Stephanie tonight. She's occupado.
She's making them dollar bills.
So, doesn't mean we don't miss her, but she's not here. So it's a sausage party. So, how's everyone doing? How's everyone's week? Good? Is it great?
The week's all right, but this felt like the Mondayest Wednesday ever.
I went through all day thinking it was Thursday, actually.
Oh man, lucky you.
No, not lucky me, because that means it's Wednesday. It means I have an extra day.
well, okay. All things considered, at least if you're thinking today was Thursday, then that means your Wednesday was better than my Wednesday. Because I was like, damn, did we get snapped back to Monday? Like shit. Like it's hard out here in them streets.
It's hard in them streets.
My Wednesday basically been Wednesday all day, but then I decided just before I left, I'm going to take Friday off. So now my Wednesday became a Thursday.
Oh, look at you.
Uh-huh.
Look at you. Aren't you special?
That's right. I'm going to take the day off and enjoy my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I'm also playing a Final Fantasy VII game, Pat, and I can't wait to talk to you about it.
Yay!
But before we get into that...
Is it First Soldier? Is it Ever Crisis?
No, it's Kingdom Hearts.
I knew it.
PAX East, the Boss Rush Podcast and the Boss Rush Network are going. We will be roaming the floor, doing interviews, doing the things, testing out games. If you see us there, come say hi. We'll be covering it as part of the media. We'll be recording podcasts across the weekend. So if you keep your eyes on bossrush.net or our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find those. PAX East is taking place in Boston on March 21st through the 24th. Get your badges now and come say hello. I think media registration is closed. So sorry, everybody. But all you regular folks, you can still buy yours for a pretty penny. No pun intended.
Be fair, though, you're probably spending more money on the hotel room.
I know. For sure. Speaking of spending money, if you want to support the Boss Rush Podcast and the Boss Rush Network, you can head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. We can get this show 1 week early and ad-free and other perks like early access to our other podcasts, voting rights, and more at a tier that's right for you. It's patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. But if you can't contribute financially, no big deal. Your viewership and listenership is enough for us. If you're watching the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up on the video, hit a notification so you know when new episodes go live. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating or a nice review. Remember, you can always find new episodes of all of our podcasts, articles, reviews, and more on our website at bossrush.net. You can grab merch from your favorite show on our TeePublic store. You can head to our website and click the store icon or the link in the show notes and browse over 40 designs from the Boss Rush Network, including a lot of cool representation shirts. Very excited for those. But with that said, Oh, we also picked a winner for our Final Fantasy VII Rebirth giveaway.
Ooh,
yeah.
Who won?
Yeah,
So,
who is it?
Hold on. Now, you're making me open Twitter now. Let's see. I know who it is. It was a YouTube. I put all the names into a random number generator. And shoot, where is it? There it is. Okay. Our winner. Oh my gosh, there's so many posts since the winner. What is going on? Man, we post a lot of shit.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Do we really post this much?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my god. Okay. Our winner was at Stephen Myers 954 from a YouTube comment. You DM'd our Boss Rush podcast account, so appreciate that. And they chose a digital copy. Thank God, because shipping. So it's on the way. Congratulations. Actually, by the time most people hear this, I'm sure Stephen Myers 954 will already be
playing it
partway through this massive game.
You'll be able to spoil it for the rest of us.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Don't be that person.
Don't be that guy. Speaking of spoilers, guys, it's time to talk about what we've been playing in our lives. I'm going to go first because I'm actually very excited about what I've been playing. Although it hasn't been a lot, but it's been a lot, I guess. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the original, because I never got past the Barrett's hideout thing when I originally played it. So
Barrett's hideout.
Just beat the bombing mission, and that was it.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like Barrett's hideout thing. You mean when they were on the train?
Yeah.
Talking about Seventh Heaven.
Here's the thing, though. I played 8, 9, and 10. Well, I played 9, 10, and 8 all back to back in that order. And then I tried to go to 7, and I was JRPG'd out. So.
You can never be JRPG'd out.
But now,
that must be nice for you, Pat. Like I got JRP out to the max towards the middle of the PS2 cycle. I was like, that's it. I've had enough.
Like, nope. You just find another JRPG to,
like they all got they were all freaking stale. Like it was like, man, like it's all the same. For a while, it seemed like it was all the same shit, or it was all the same concepts.
I feel like there's a period of time where everybody was into JRPGs, and then everybody kind of grew out of it. And then when you go back, they just kind of seem boring, which is why all the JRPGs are now action RPGs.
For real.
I blame the PS3.
No, the PS3.
Maybe they shouldn't have launched with folklore. Okay, launch with something better. Anyways, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, and so everything I'm playing right now is on the Switch because all my consoles are at the at my new house, which I am not currently at. I am enjoying it. I think I don't know. It's weird because like I'm reading this dialogue because there's no voice acting, and it's first of all, it's really weird to play a game in 2024 that has no voice acting. Even though this game came out.
You are playing a 1990 what 7 game?
Yeah, I know. But it's just weird. It's just weird because I haven't played an older game, quote unquote, like that in quite some time.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, like it was actually a luxury back in the PS1 days when there was voiceovers in dialogue in RPGs.
Oh, I know.
Like those Lunar games. Oh my god, man! Like
Woo!
that was yes.
Oh man. But I'm playing this and like what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to cut you off.
No, go.
The crazy part about like the dialogue in these games though is like if you actually like rip one of those old PS1 discs and actually extract the dialogue file, it is such a small file. It's like you couldn't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean that's what happens when you're running on
games.
TDs. I mean, you know,
they put these Final Fantasy games across 3, sometimes 4 discs. record dialogue for
Yeah.
You guys know that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is 150 gigs?
Yeah. 2 discs.
Yeah.
Remember how prominent that advertising was? 2 discs.
And still 150 gigs.
Also, did you see the recent thing where VGC put out a warning that if you bought a Japanese copy due to a printing error at one of the facilities where they print the discs, the install disc is actually the play disc, and the play disc is actually the install disc.
Oh, sucks to be them.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah. So
at least it's just backwards though. Can you imagine they got 2 of the exact same disc?
Oh boy. Yeah. Man, that would suck.
They're both installed disc.
Yeah.
I'd be calling Square and being like, give me a digital code right now while you replace my disc.
Yeah. Oh man. Crazy times we live in, everybody. But I'm like sitting there reading the dialogue, and so from what I understand, all the dialogue is the same as the dialogue as it was in the 1997 version in this remasters update thing, right?
Probably.
I'm sitting there, I'm like,
for the most part,
I'm like, man. And I don't know if I'm just hearing this in my head wrong, and my head is being semi kind of whatever, but like I'm reading Barrett's lines. I'm like, Barrett just sounds like an idiot. He sounds really like, what are you trying to do to him? Like this just
they were trying to make him sound like Mr. T.
I'm like, they're really trying to write for a black man, and it's clearly like some 40-year-old white dude sitting in a translation office somewhere.
40-year-old Japanese dude thinking.
Thank you for saying it, Corey, because if I had said it, then everybody been like, oh, LeRon's just trying to be an activist up in here.
And I'm just like, I don't know if it's just because we've been caught up in this, cycle of being more aware of everything, and everybody's hyper aware of everything now. But like, man, that stands out. It stands out so much. And I'm just like, man, if this came out today, like...
Okay, Barrett sounds more intelligent in Final Fantasy VII Remake than he did in the original Final Fantasy VII, but at the same time, he still sounds like a damn stereotype. So, like, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that kind of stuck out, but also like, so after the mission, when you kind of go into the city before you get on the train for the first time and you see Aerith there, and like, I accidentally was like clicking through stuff because I was trying to pick stuff up, and I saw her and I accidentally pressed A twice. And so I picked a dialogue option where she just kind of walks away. Is there a dialogue option to where you can talk to her there? Because I missed it.
The conversation with her is very limited in that first meeting.
I assumed as much, just because everybody was trying to like run away because the city was exploding. But I don't know. I thought maybe I missed something, but I'm gameplay wise, I'm probably only like an hour in, but I'm also like trying to explore every nook and cranny and looking for materia, and so I've put about 2.5 hours in. I want to see it through. I can tell at some point that this might get kind of repetitive in terms of the battle system, but I'm enjoying the character interaction actually, and I'm really interested to see what they do with the Avalanche characters, because I know they're not in it that long in this version, but they made a whole game revolving around them and recently. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think Cloud may be the worst character so far.
Cloud's a bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a...
Asshole's not the right word. He's just.
I thought Cloud was like a depressed emo.
Oh,
kid,
you haven't gotten to disc 3. That's
like, he's just like at the beginning. He's just like a dick.
He's basically, all I care about is the money, and that's it.
Yeah,
not what I was expecting.
Yeah, Cloud has no personality for the first 2 discs. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Why do people like him?
Because it's just okay.
Because he carries a big ass sword.
Big ass sword.
I was about to say,
you know who's way cooler? Who carries a big ass sword? Aaron from Final Fantasy X.
Oh,
people loved him too.
I know. He's the coolest Final Fantasy character. So I'm enjoying it. Tifa is very like all up on you and like,
yeah.
Remember when you made me that promise? And it's like, oh boy, here we go. This is this might be what people want, I guess, from the new games.
Hey. He shouldn't have left her high and dry up in Nibelheim, and she wouldn't be like this.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. I read that it's not like too long.
If you use the quality of life stuff, you could probably finish this game in like 24 hours.
See, he's playing the modern Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I didn't turn any of the modifiers on though.
You will probably want to turn the modifiers
mostly
on.
Because I couldn't find them. But other than that, I also on the Switch I returned to Nier Automata, and I played it. When I was playing it, I really loved it, and then I got distracted by something else. I don't even remember what it was. But going back to it, I don't remember what I was doing, but I still enjoy running around and trying to figure out what I was doing.
Now that would be a good book club game.
I know.
Because that story is deep as shit.
I was thinking about, Pat, I was actually thinking about you for this and the RPG version of book club that we kind of discussed. And doing, there are 3 series that I really want to play through right now. Well, series in quotes, I guess.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII, the kind of 4 games that are available to play right now. Maybe some sort of Dirge of Cerberus type thing. Nier Automata and Nier Replicant are 2 games that I really want to play, like finish.
You know, the director is teasing a 3rd one now.
I know. I saw. He also called Square Enix out, or was it Square? Or was it Platinum? He called one of the studios out for like not getting this game fast tracked after selling 5 million units in a year and a half or something.
Oh, but they were so focused on their mobile game that they're going to actually end a month after it completes.
Yeah.
Like they have this episodic Nier game called Resurrection, and they're literally finishing up in March, and then they're shutting the server down in April.
Yeah, I saw that. But I really like Nier. I think there's some interesting concepts, and I know it stars like this sexy android lady, but also like the game is really beautiful, and I think the environments are really, they're really nice to look at, even on the Switch. Like it's really nice, and the game runs at 60 frames a second on the Switch. It's really fluid and nice. It's awesome. So I've been playing that, and then the last game, I'm only like a half hour in for book club, but I'm also playing it on the Switch because when I decided to start playing it, I realized the other console I had it installed on is at my other house. But I've been playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and I might play it on the Switch just to see how it performs. I did play it all the way through on Xbox. Got all the achievements. Not that they're that hard. But I played it the Xbox Series X version, and now I'm playing the Switch version. So I'm arguably playing the best and the worst version. It's interesting. Let me tell you. These textures, man. It's really interesting.
Downloaded that on the on my Xbox, so I'll be jumping in here within the next week or 2.
Yeah, it's not a very long game. I really like that game a lot. So that's what I've been playing. Looking forward to talking more about Final Fantasy VII in the future. I know a lot of people who have been following me in particular for a while know that I have kind of shat on that game in the past. But it's been a while. And so I'm giving it a fair shot. And hopefully I enjoy it as much as everybody else.
Why why did you shed on that game?
Because I was a early podcaster who was trying to be cool, and
So
the
you were
also like
you were an idiot.
also saying like I don't even remember what I was saying at the time. There are early episodes of Nintendo Pal Block where I was not very high on Final Fantasy VII. So don't go listen to those and make fun of me 8, 9, 10 years ago. Okay, everybody.
No, please do.
I don't know. It sounds like you kind of deserve it.
I probably
Yeah,
do.
Please do.
I probably deserve it for a lot of games, not just Final Fantasy VII. But I've tried to steer clear of the unconstructive, negative discussions on games. If I'm going to be negative, I want to be constructive. So, yeah. Also, games are really hard to make. I've learned that over the course of talking to a lot of people, as I'm sure you guys have. And it's sometimes it's probably not the best thing to say that your game sucks because a lot of people work really hard on them. So, LeRon, what are you playing?
Essentially the same stuff that I've been playing. So it's Tekken 8, which by the way, I sent you guys this out in our chat, but I can confirm on stream that I rolled credits on Tekken 8.
Yeah,
So,
yay!
All right.
LeRon beat a game.
I played the story mode for Tekken 8 over the weekend. As a matter of fact, you know what? It didn't take me that much time. It took like 4 hours to get through it and stuff like that, And the reason why it took me 4 hours to get through it is because, like, in certain instances, they make you use characters that you're not familiar with in the fighting game, like in the scenarios and stuff like that.
They did the Mortal Kombat thing.
Yeah, so
Injustice
sometimes
thing.
you wind up muddling through, and stuff like that. And of course, like like the late stage fights are basically boss fights, and you're playing against the broken ass characters that aren't even in the actual game, the fighting game part itself.
That's cool, just like Super Smash Bros.
Don't
Yeah,
get me started at how many times I jumped off a stage to unlock those characters.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say about I really enjoyed like Tekken 8 story mode, and that's saying a lot considering that Tekken 7 story mode was very laughable. Yeah, you definitely got between both of those, you definitely got context to what was going on and things of that nature. But Tekken 8 was much more solid. It actually made more sense and stuff. And if it's and if the storyline plays out the way it's supposed to in the story mode, like there's going to be 2 less characters in the roster of when Tekken 9 comes out, because we actually had some deaths.
They'll be revived somehow. You can't kill off
There's one
fighting
person
game.
there's one person he's dead as a doornail.
Someone get thrown in a volcano and didn't survive.
No volcanoes. No.
Kirby, though, right?
Yep, that was hilarious.
I hate Kirby. Oh, I hate Kirby. Ed and I argued about Kirby on an upcoming expansion pass, by the way. So for those of you who listen to that, get ready.
Really?
Yeah.
But beyond the story mode stuff, like I'm like Tekken 8, I'm still playing the game itself. It's probably gonna be my time sink for a good little while. Beyond that, I'm still playing Mario versus Donkey Kong, and I'm still enjoying it and stuff like that. I'm starting to get now to the point where this game has some nifty little traps like set up in there, and I'm not even talking about like the stuff that's just on the screen, that's out to get you. There's some sneaky little stuff in this game that because I never beat the actual like Game Boy Advance version of it. Like I'm in brand new territory now.
What
But the game,
world set are you in?
I am 4 actually. Yeah.
The carnival or the
Yes.
fairground? Yep.
Yeah.
That's actually a new world for this game.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
they brought in 2 new worlds.
Far.
2 new worlds. One of them's the carnival, and the other one is an icy mountain.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I tell you what though, like it's fun. Now, one thing I did notice though is and maybe it's because it's the new guy that's voicing Mario for this game, Um, because like a lot of Mario's dialogue is not there. You know, like when he gets the keys and he turns them in the door, like that let's it go like thing that Mario always shouts is gone. Which I guess after a while that can get on somebody's nerves and stuff like that. But beyond that, I don't know. Corey, what say you?
I was going to ask you. So I
Mhm.
downloaded the demo
Uh-huh.
and I played the demo, and the demo didn't really do, those first couple stages in the demo didn't really do anything for me. Does it get better?
Oh, it gets harder.
Just
Yeah, it gets
because
harder.
like just
Yeah,
just
that first stage was really simple. And you wanna
yeah.
know the dumb part is like I feel like it was dumbed down from the original game because like I remember when I first played Mario vs. Donkey Kong in GBA, I died at least twice in the first world
I
before I
think it's
got to the
because
beginning.
the controls are smoother.
That is true. That
Hmm
is true. Yeah, the game runs very smooth. Like it's incredible how smooth it runs. And the sad part is because I dumped the cartridge. I dumped the cartridge. The game only takes a whopping 237 megabytes.
Mhm.
It's a small game.
It's the asset. It's Nintendo's masterful reuse of assets. I mean, everything in there is just there's probably less than 100 assets in that entire game.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, but Pat is right though. The game runs so smooth, you know. The soundtrack to back him up. The soundtrack
hmm
is wonderful. Even though you are hearing a lot of songs over and over again because most stages are six stages long and stuff like that. It doesn't grate on your nerves.
No, it's nice. It's smooth. The
Yeah.
music, it's got some nice jazz beats going on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Jazz beats.
Yeah, that's right.
And then so I'll probably have Mario versus Donkey Kong beat real soon. Pat, how many stages have you beat it yet?
I beat the main part. I I got the credit roll, which happens after World 8.
Okay.
But then you have a twist that basically you have to play 8 more worlds.
Oh, as
Uh,
soon as I roll credits, I'm considering beat. I'm not completing it.
you're not gonna try out the twist?
I might try a twist, but
Mhm.
then again, I don't know what the twist could be a twist on because like I never beat the original.
Oh, you'll know what kind of a twist it is. It changes up the gameplay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. And then play just a teeny tiny little bit of Monster Hunter. It's because like right now, like I'm one of like while there's new Tekken and no Monster Hunter, I'm gonna be playing Tekken. As soon as new Monster Hunter comes out, I will be playing Tekken less.
Mhm.
And I'll also try to continue through my backlog, which by the way, whenever Stephanie comes back, we need to do that backlog episode.
I
Yeah,
know.
we do.
I was
It was supposed
thinking
to be the
about it.
beginning of the year. It was supposed to be the beginning of the year when we did that backlog episode, but
I know. You know what
that might
else is coming up though?
what else is coming
Second
up?
second round of the Metacritic draft.
That's gonna
Already?
be
We just did that.
April 1st or whatever that first week of April is.
Okay, it's not even March 1st yet.
March is on Friday.
yeah. We need to
uh,
talk about that. I don't know if there's gonna be enough new games to warrant
sure there are.
quarterly. Maybe
You're
half.
not looking hard enough.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what the industry has to say.
Well, yeah, there might not be any games to pick after all these.
Really? Yeah.
Jeez.
I got things to say, so we'll say that for later in the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Pat, what about you?
Me? Well, I played another demo. This one is a very beefy demo. It's a demo that could either beat it the first chapter or you play 7 hours and then the game cuts you off kind of demo. And that is for Unicorn Overlord.
Ooh, what are you playing it on?
Switch.
Switch. Nice.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick it up on the Switch, and then that'll be my kind of my gaming game while we're out and about at PAX.
Mm-hmm.
Make a good travel game.
Yeah.
But oh man, first off, absolutely gorgeous. Vanillaware kills in the design category. Like, the character sprites are beautiful. The environments are lush. It's got a very flowery dialogue, which right now is, purists are kind of screaming foul because they're adding more than what the Japanese originally intended.
Oh no.
Yep. So people are like nitpicking a simple line that could just say no, and they say, I respect your opinion, but I will say no. They're like, that's too much. You shouldn't have added that. I don't know. I don't get localization purists.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whatever. It's a fun game.
I didn't even know that was a thing, like a localization purist, but I should have known. There's a thing for everything.
Yeah, there's people who want the dialogue to be direct translated from Japanese and nothing more.
That
doesn't work.
They need to get a life.
No, their life is to nitpick it.
Trust me. I'm of an age where like I dealt with so much English that no, like make it sound good. That's all I have to say. Make the dialogue sound good. Anything else is some bullshit, and I'm gonna question how lazy the developers were for doing that shit. In this day and age, it's 2024 now, guys. Like I'm sorry. Like if you want original dialogue, just import the fucking game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the dialogue gives the characters more personality. So I like the upgrade in dialogue. But the game isn't about dialogue. It's about real-time tactical strategy combat. And let me tell you, this is what Fire Emblem desperately needs. Like, the combat is absolutely phenomenal. The game throws you first into a battle that just shows you like just how much the combat flows, and like it's super advanced, and you're looking at it and it's like, this looks complicated. And then the next mission's the one that kind of trains you up on like just the small nuances, like how to start getting your formations, because you have a group leader and then you can eventually unlock like six other uh or five other teammates to join him in different formations to string various attacks together. But it starts you off slow, where each like formation is only two people, and then you have to unlock more. And then they also offer you strategies like, hey, you should pair these two people up because they will perform like this kind of combo. Like, put your thief in the front row. That way, they're constantly evading attacks while they're drawing like the attacks to them. They're evading it, and then like your cavalry can go in and then start decimating like the troops without getting injured and stuff like that. Like, there's some definite tactical nuances uh, in it with setting up your formations. The game is also though in real time, so while there is a pause menu, you like you when you unpause it, your characters and their characters are moving at the same time, so you might have to rechange your strategy on what units to send, where, and who to fight what, given the battle. You can then also go and like find outposts to like, I guess, what, I forget what the word that they use, but basically you take over outposts to help kind of strengthen your side while, weakening the enemy and things like that. There's a lot of fun nuances, but the battles are also pretty fast paced. So you don't have to worry about like taking 5 turns back and forth fighting like enemies. You usually will get through a combat scenario in like 10 to 15 minutes.
Nice.
And then what's cool is that it is an open world map. So you can literally walk around, talk to characters on the map. They can offer you side quests. You can help rebuild towns that were like damaged in sieges, and then they will offer you like better products or just other like benefits for helping out that town. And eventually, once you get past like the first few chapters, you can literally choose what region you want to go and like liberate. So it's also pretty open in how you want to go about and you know tackle your kingdom.
Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it is an amazing game. I am super excited to pick this up here in a couple of weeks. Like that demo just made me went from interested to like I have to have it now.
Nice.
Yep.
It looks
Yeah,
cool.
like yeah, it looks cool, and me hearing you talking about it, like like I love like it is it is a tactical RPG at its heart, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's tactical, but it's more of a real time pace. But then you have the tactics like weaknesses and strengths of like a Fire Emblem game.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
Nice.
it's pretty good. I highly like check out the demo, give that a shot, and if you like it, you can actually carry your data onto the main game.
Oh, I love when games do that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
download
I
the demos right now.
yeah,
Actually.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so like I said, the demo's either until you beat the first chapter or you play 7 hours, in which case it cuts you off and says, "Get the game."
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's fair, I guess.
Yep. I also with the recent Tomb Raider remaster, I decided, you know what, I want to play one of the older Tomb Raiders that I haven't played in a while. So I downloaded Underworld on my Xbox,
Nice.
just because I only played that game once, and I just wanted to re-experience it again. And it is fun. The issue I'm having is that my Xbox or it freezes like every 2 hours, and when it freezes, I lose a lot of progress in that game because it likes to save like each change in a chapter. So one chapter I literally played an hour and a half. Just to change like the end where it's supposed to change into the next chapter, the game freezes.
Oh
Mm.
man.
So that was an hour and a half of progress that then I went back and finished in 30 minutes because I refused to pick up the treasures again.
Hmm.
Like I just beelined it at that point, and I want to enjoy it, but that is just upsetting me that it did this now 3 times.
Yeah.
That sucks. I had a weird issue when I was playing Uncharted on PS5, the PS4 version, where I think I talked about it on this show last week, but um basically I got to the sunken city or whatever,
Yep.
and it was the part right where you get off the jet skis for the first time, and you go down that kind of outside open hallway where the explosive barrels are at the end of the hallway and whatever.
Yeah.
And it kept saying game crashed, whatever. And then then it would be like, oh, corrupted data, and I would have to delete the game, delete the save file from my console, download the cloud save, reinstall the game, and then play as much as I could before I turned it off. And then every time I would turn it back on again, I would have to redo that.
What
And it
the?
was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was really
Well,
annoying trying to finish.
you were having issues with that PS5 though. So
I know.
do you think it might have been the PS5 was like really just sabotaging your game?
I mean, it could be a PS5 issue. I mean, it could. I mean, that console has given me so much trouble. Like,
Because
I am avoiding it at all costs.
you
But
were playing the Nathan Drake collection, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Steph and I didn't have any issues, so I think it was his PS5 that was causing it.
yeah, I might at some point. I might just trade it in for one of those new slim ones, because the hardware is updated, not because I think the slim one looks any better, but just to have
Mm-hmm.
updated hardware, because this
Oh,
one is
Oh, you didn't send. Oh, you didn't send that one back to Sony because this is the refurb one they sent. This is the refurb one they sent you, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Like at this point,
Dude,
I'd rate below hell.
Dude, I've had so much trouble with PlayStation since the PlayStation 3. Like in terms of like my PlayStation 3 bricked when I was playing Final Fantasy 13. Then the second one I got, like the power source inside just died and it wouldn't turn on. And then my PS4 died. My first PS4 died. My PS4 Pro needed sent in, and now it's crazy. And like Xbox is the hardware that is known to be failing, and I've never had an issue with an Xbox.
Corey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like such an asshole, bro.
That's
but
fine.
but this is karma because you talk so much shit about your consoles that aren't Nintendo. You talk so much shit.
It's true.
I've never had a problem with a Nintendo console either.
Okay,
Although I didn't play enough of my Wii to find out because the Wii sucks. God, the Wii sucks. I hate the Wii so much.
Wait. You like the Wii U more than you like the Wii?
Oh yeah, by a mile.
You hate motion controls, don't you?
Well, yeah, I hate motion controls.
Pat, roll us to the next topic. Pat, please.
Anyways, like Tomb Raider Underworld, it's a good game. Like it's got that Uncharted quality, where it's the linear path, but it's more puzzle based. You're gonna find yourself hanging on the walls a hell of a lot more than you would in an Uncharted game. The combat is okay. Honestly, it's just when you lock onto something, just keep jumping backwards until you build up your adrenaline meter, and then you can go for a headshot. But yeah, the settings are cool. Like I would say Underworld has probably one of the coolest settings in the Mexico level.
Mm-hmm.
Like that level was tight. You drove around in your motorcycle. It was raining. You checked out the Mayan ruins. But yeah, it's just that crashing that just makes me not want to go back to it. But I want to go back to it. So, and then finally, what was the last thing I put here? Yeah, Power Wash Simulator this week came out with their Warhammer 40K DLC, and this has got some of the most detailed things that you will ever wash in this game. Like there are a ton of small pieces, a lot of like surfaces that are being obstructed by other surfaces, so you have to try and figure out how to wash, in between the cracks. And it's also got probably one of the biggest things to wash since the main game. Like I remember the last level of Power Wash Simulator took me, I think, somewhere between 4 to 6 hours to wash. That's kind of what this one, the last level of the Warhammer one, when you're washing this gigantic ship, it is literally taking hours to clean this thing, just because it's so huge. Like they give you 3 ladders to be able to reach the top on this one, and yeah, it's what's up, LeRon?
So which DLC do you think is better, the Final Fantasy one or this Warhammer one?
Oh, I love the Final Fantasy one. I would say my favorite DLCs in order right now would be SpongeBob would be on the top, just because that one was fun. Final Fantasy, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Those were my 3 favorites, but I would say this one's definitely better than the Back to the Future DLC.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That one did, the Back to the Future one just didn't do too much for me.
Uh-huh.
But this one's definitely got some really nice designs, and like I said, it's complicated because you got to try and figure out how to get around. Like, for example, washing this gigantic like humanoid robot that is probably like 3 stories tall, but you can't really just climb onto it and like clean like the small like crevices in between the joints. Like you gotta figure out how to get around it and stuff. It's it's a little puzzly, but it's still my Zen game. the one I go to just to kind of relax. So
nice.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with it.
Nice.
Nope. Every time they come out with a new DLC, I will be there day one to play it.
Nice. LeRon, I was thinking about your Wii U slander just now. I don't appreciate it. I hooked it up.
Why don't you appreciate my Wii U slander? Why?
I hooked it up. Why? It's hooked up on my TV. Hooked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, dude. When you turn that on, though, oh my gosh, it takes like 5 minutes to boot up. It's sad. It's so sad.
Sounds like my 3DS, but that's because my 3DS is broken in.
It's so sad. That console.
My 3DS is jailbroken.
Yep.
The Wii.
No, Celeste's husband jailbroke mine. So it's got a lot to love.
Wait, jailbroke or modded? Because didn't you put a mod on it?
Well, emulators.
Well, when I said mod, I meant like a capture card, like that, like an actual hardware upgrade to it.
No, I mean it's got a really big memory card in it, but for the most, he broke it so that I could play emulated games.
Okay, yeah, I did the emulator thing on my 3DS for a little while, and then I was like, it was something about those. I don't know, like it was something about those tiny screens on the 3DS. It was something about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good 3DS and DS titles that I wanted to still play. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't. It just didn't live up to it for me.
It's too small for a big guy like you, LeRon. You need something big in those hands. More power.
Hey, I played quite a few Monster Hunter games on my 3DS.
Yep. And isn't it better to play it on a Switch versus a 3DS?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying. Man, I wish these Wii U games would hurry up and make their way to the Switch, and just so I could put this thing away, because
you spend $60 whole for them.
Oh, some of them are 40.
You know what? We're not going to start about that.
We are later. It's one of the topics.
Because I have a bone to pick with Nintendo about some shit.
Oh my god!
You know what's funny is that the Luigi 2 for the Switch costs more than Luigi 2 for the 3DS.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for us to get into this.
Oh man, the price for games debate it hurts my brain. But we're not going to talk about that yet.
We're gonna see how hard Corey shills for Nintendo tonight.
Not as much as you might think.
I'm gonna shill for Nintendo because right now it's the only company that's showing that they know how to run a business.
Yeah, fair. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. I was actually going to bring up that point on our first topic, which is right now. Topic number 1. Are AAA games developers and publishers hitting their breaking point? It's not just AAA developers. It's AA developers who are having a hard time marketing their game. It's these smaller developers who, I mean, I think you look at, Deck 9 and Ascendant Studio, who made Immortals of Avium, and you look at some of these other studios that are just like,
I think the Immortals of Avium team kind of bit off more than they could chew.
They've been. I mean, I've seen more marketing for that game from their social accounts than I ever did before the game came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
also, the game is like $20 on PSN right now.
Yeah, that game lacked support from its main publisher.
Oh, EA, the
Mm-hmm.
studio who laid off almost 700 people today. Sure.
You know what? I hate that announcement that they made too. That we're going to no longer focus on our franchised IPs and just stick with our sports and what works. So you know what that
they
sounded
said licensed. They said licensed IP.
Licensed, yeah.
Okay, you know what that means? No more Jedi.
No, they confirmed Jedi, the third Star Wars Jedi game, is still in development. They
After
canceled
this announcement?
The canceled Star Wars games were Respawn's first-person shooter, which was rumored to be a Mandalorian game, and the other kind of I think it was going to be a third Battlefront game.
No.
Were canceled.
And they guaranteed that the new Jedi is going to come.
Respawn confirmed it on Twitter today.
Yeah, they confirmed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Uh,
That made me worried. It's like, oh, so we're just going to drop everything and go back to sports titles because that's the easiest for you.
So before we get into that, it's what IP does EA even own? So they have Titanfall / Apex, they have Dead Space, they have Mass Effect and Dragon Age. What else is theirs?
Well,
I guarantee you, BioWare is going to go under once Dragon Age comes out. Then that one's going to get hit by the mass layoffs because the game wasn't successful enough in its 10-year development.
Yep, BioWare.
EA just has like some of the most fucked up like goals or whatnot, because like Dead Space did really well, the remake, and right now they're acting like it's not enough for them to like think about recouping the second game.
Yeah, it's
that's what the topic is about. It's honestly, are they, is the AAA titles like even like sustainable anymore? Because these games take millions upon millions to make. Like,
here's a clue. Like, and you know what? I don't run a video game company. I don't even run a company that sells video games. All I do is play video games. But when I hear about, okay, so we know that the development costs for a game are going to be high. But the second highest thing, if not tied with like the development cost, is the marketing cost. I feel like something. I feel like if they want to save the money, like they need to figure out a way to like basically scale back the marketing, but still have the same punch. I mean, that's what the fuck your website's for. That's what the fuck YouTube's for. That's what the fuck.
Have you seen these extravagant gifts that they give to these content creators, though? Yeah. Like, these things are literally hundreds of dollars given to at least 1,000 different content creators.
Yeah, where's mine? Where's mine?
I mean,
you're not cool enough, apparently.
To play devil's advocate, and I know this should be decided at the beginning of development, and adjusted throughout, but it's usually not. The marketing budget is usually a separate department than the development budget. Like the marketing budget probably goes through EA proper, not the studio, right? If we're talking about this kind of stuff. But yes, it should definitely be adjusted. But on the other hand, the marketing money usually doesn't have to do with the developer in a lot of cases.
It's still money that
it's still money. Yeah, it's
that
not
the developer isn't going to get.
I understand. I'm just saying, like, EA has. I mean, I'm sure they outsource their marketing first of all, but they probably have some marketing firm doing, under contract for X amount of games, and that, you should spend this amount on this percentage on this game, and this percentage on this game. And if you need to use more, pull from this game, which is probably why Immortals of Avium suffered. And we, I mean, I think Dead Space had a pretty decent marketing campaign, but all their marketing dollars went to Star Wars. So, because that's the biggest game they put out.
And you want to know the crazy part is, like, okay, so there's a good point right there, right? Okay, so like they put like Star Wars is a licensed game.
Mm-hmm.
How much money did Disney front for marketing on that? I have to ask the question because, like, Because in all seriousness, that's a joint co-venture. Like Disney
Probably
wins.
not anything, to be perfectly honest. They probably
Disney
sold the
Disney wins
license.
whenever that game sells a copy. Disney wins.
Whatever that contract looked like, and I'm just basing this off of contracts I've seen, and this doesn't have anything to do with gaming. This is other things that I've seen, but I would imagine it works the same way, where Disney went to EA and said, we will partially fund this Star Wars game with X amount of dollars, and you use your X amount of dollars to fund the rest of it. And this percentage of it is for marketing. And then once you sell the game, we get X amount percentage off a rip off of every copy sold. Right. That's what I imagine. And I'm sure Disney, and we've seen it with the way both of these Star Wars Jedi games have come out, right? Not, they're kind of broken and don't run very well, especially on the PC side, where you have X amount of years to get it out. Here's your timeline. And if you miss targets, we can adjust by 6 months, but you have to get it out within this timeline, right? It's probably how it works. But I assume a lot of the marketing dollars come from EA, and also EA banking that Star Wars is going to sell, right? That's what I'm assuming their marketing strategy was for Star Wars. So I don't know.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's this part. The game's coming out and broken. That's not doing anybody a service. And I understand. I understand. If I feel like I say this time and time again on these podcast shows. If you know something's wrong with your game, just put the press release out there and say, "Hey, we need more time for this damn thing to cook." Because guess what? You're not doing yourself a favor by shitting out Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Now, that would be a good idea, but now you're running into what's one of the main problems of the whole business structure. Shareholders.
That's the other thing.
The thing is, they have so many shareholders, and these people are putting money towards this game. They want to see a return. They don't want this to be like an interest-free loan. They want to see profit being made through the development, a share, probably in some sort of form of a annual or a semi-annual, even a quarterly dividend. And honestly, that's where most of the money comes up. Let's take Spider-Man, for example. Over 10 million copies were sold, so that's about $700 million in revenue. 250 of it was probably the development costs.
Well, the budget was 322 million, I think, was from that Insomniac leak.
Got it. So it's even higher than what I just said. And so you know where the rest of the money's going? To the shareholders. They're not going to have enough money to make another game. They have to then go and get loans. And those loans right now, if you ever try to apply for a loan, has some insanely high interest.
Yeah. Plus you're paying, on that point, you're paying the shareholders of two companies, not just one, right? You have Sony, who's publishing the game, and you have Marvel, which is owned by Disney. So you have those shareholders, right?
So honestly, their AAA titles and making all this revenue looks good on the books, but it's not, the money's not going to the right people. It's not staying in the company. The shareholders are taking their money and they're going to the next project.
Yeah, which is what Sony kind of said at their earnings call, right? 2 weeks ago at this point. Hiroki Totoki said that their profit is what, 7%, 8% or something? 6%. It's which is hilariously low, right? And we found out a bunch of stuff after that. We don't need to get into all that today, but then we saw Sony lay off 900 people this week, and including a lot at Insomniac, who is carrying the first party load for PlayStation.
Okay. You know what? There's another problem there. Why was there such a massive hiring spree during the peak of the pandemic? Because all these companies ran out and they found talent.
Because the government was offering loans to keep people employed during the time.
Yeah,
I wonder how much Sony and Microsoft got in PPP loans. I wonder.
Several million for sure.
Also, I'm sure there was a lot of what do you call it? God, asset kind of payment delays, like their offices, like rent for their offices and stuff. Like I'm sure all that got deferred to what's maybe 3, 6, 12 months, right? I mean, that's what happened to Bungie, right? They had all this money and they were going to open a new studio and hire up and start a publishing arm and do all these things, and then they overhired and then they laid off all those people, and another round is coming, and then they were in such financial trouble that they had to be bought or they were going to be closed, right? That's what ended up coming out. And then they laid off over 100 people, and after the final shape comes out, which
Sony will probably be completely running them by that point.
Well, I don't know if you saw some of the reports right now, which again, there's 4 months until the final shape comes out, but at this point, the final shape has less than a quarter of the pre-orders that Lightfall had.
Oh, I saw that.
So that's nuts.
I feel like that's a different conversation though, because I think Destiny players are having Destiny fatigue.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. As somebody who's heavily kind of involved in that community, like there's a lot of fatigue. There is a lot of fatigue. And also like a lot of people who are still playing or are planning on playing within the coming months are looking at the final shape as a jumping off point. Like a lot, even content creators.
Yep.
Like Datto, Astacross, Gathalion has already kind of jumped ship, and he just kind of like every time a new season drops, he's like, when all the story stuff comes out, I'll play it all in one day. You can see it. I'll raid a couple times and then I'm done. Right. And he made his name on Taken King content and Rise of Iron content and Destiny 2 vanilla content. Right. Like he's the OG. He's an OG Destiny content creator. Him and Broman and, these streamers who made their names off of Destiny have not been serious Destiny content creators in a long time. I would say like Grenadier Jake is pretty serious still. He's a PvP Destiny creator. Datto is still pretty serious, although he's made it pretty clear that he's diversifying his content now. So when the final shape is over, he's done. My name is Bife, does the Destiny lore, so he kind of keeps up, but a lot of his let's like the videos that go with his lore pieces, his lore scripts are recorded by other people that he employs, so like he's not even playing, it's just crazy this and that's like to wrap it all around, like everybody saw the success of Destiny early on, even though it struggled, and now everybody's chasing their game as a service and their cash cow to fund other games, right? I mean, EA hit early with Apex, right? That was their kind of attempt, and Battlefront 2, right? Those were their two kind of major attempts and did pretty well. I mean, Battlefront 2, I don't know how many people are still playing it or spending money on it, but Apex is still large. But you look at something like Ubisoft and The Division, or X Defiant, or Rainbow Six Siege is still pretty successful for them, but like their other attempts are not. Yeah, Skull and Bones, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are losing money too. Is like they're chasing the unicorn that they can't catch, and there's so many factors, man.
Putting too much development into something that's only going to be a fad until the next big thing. We just saw it now with Pal World, and we're probably going to see it with Helldivers when the next thing comes out.
Yeah, and it's funny because those games weren't meant to be the big games either, right? Like they hit in a weird time, because I mean, Helldivers isn't even meant to be a game as a service. They kind of originally announced that their content updates would be free, and they had to earn the right to monetize, and they would consider it later if the game was successful years later. But like their stuff, like Helldivers is like this 1 in a million drop, and I mean, I hope their server issues are fixed. I don't know if they are yet or not.
They're getting better. Like last I checked, just recently, they were able to up the user base to 700,000 now.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound right. 70,000.
750,000 was their
Okay,
server.
okay. The 100,000 for when I said it out loud didn't sound right, but yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they're doing it. What was the term? What was the term? Suffering from success. That was the term I heard. In relation
Mhm.
to into what the situation with the Helldivers. And you know what? That's a good situation to have, but that's also the fucking worst situation to be in.
Yeah, I mean, look, good for Arrowhead though. Like their CEO has been very open about the success and the troubles they've had, not expecting to be this successful. And he said, "Look, until we fix the servers, do not buy our game until we kind of have something to say about it." And I appreciate them for being open about this
Yeah, that's
because
very stand up.
yeah, um, and you don't see a lot of that from studios. I would say Insomniac is probably on a similar track to them, right? They're always pretty open about their stuff, but it's just we're coming to a point where these budgets are too big, and we're chasing all these fads, and you put $320 million into a 20-hour Spider-Man game, like that's not sustainable. That is not sustainable. We've hit a point where not everything has to look the greatest. And Pat, you brought up something that I was going to bring up earlier is like, look at the way Nintendo runs their business. You say what you want about their games or their re-releases or their remasters.
Yep,
They don't.
they use the same assets over again.
Yeah, they are the masters of recycling assets, animations. They don't do a lot of mocap, if any, right? They don't do a lot of voice acting, if any. They're using tech that's ancient at this point, but they're still making it work. It's somewhere along the line Nintendo figured it out. And I'm not saying that everybody has to, I don't want to say stoop down to Nintendo's level, because that's not right, because Nintendo is a great company in terms of development, but I think companies need to take notes from Nintendo and see what they're doing right and compare it to what they're doing wrong, and see if they can find some sort of either middle ground or reset or kind of re-jumpstart their development stuff. Because like if you're waiting 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I mean, Pat, you brought up, or maybe LeRon, you brought up Justice League. One of you brought up Justice League earlier, right? Or
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Yeah.
Squad, kill the Justice League, right? And that game took 9 years to develop, and it kind of has come out.
And look what we got.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it's pretty mediocre, right? I haven't played it. I heard the live service stuff actually doesn't start until after the campaign, which is okay. Well, I would play a 12 to 15 hour campaign of. To me, it looks fun-ish. I'm not going to pay $70 for it, but there again, like, I'm not going to pay $70 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, it could be fun, but we're also looking at this is Rockstar. They made the Arkham trilogy.
Rocksteady.
All right, this is Rocksteady, and they made the Arkham trilogy. But then you see Suicide Squad and the quality that that game has. It's like it's night and day.
Well, from what I heard though, what we got is not the game they put out to develop.
Yeah. Also, like, one
They
of their
were they were
pitches
they
was a
were pushed.
multiplayer game that was not Suicide Squad, first of all.
Yeah, but you know what? But you know what? In all honesty, like I didn't have faith in Suicide Squad after the shambles that was Gotham Knights. And that's not even the same. That wasn't even the same developer.
Same publisher though, and
Same
they had the
publisher.
same idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you look at something like Hogwarts Legacy that came out and it was the best-selling game of the year, and it was a single player, pretty polished,
It
interesting
makes me wonder
experience.
though how much did Warner Brothers actually take control of that game though, or did they just kind of let Avalanche do their thing? And now, like, kind of like how Rocksteady
Well,
had Arkham, to start off with, and they probably gave Rocksteady more like freedom. But then now it's like, hey, Batman's our popular asset. We want you to do this with it.
Yeah. Well,
okay. Here's what I think. Here's what I think happened. To answer your question real quickly, and I'll let you. And then Corey, you can go. I think because like it was such a hot potato thing for with Harry with Hogwarts because of all the shit going on with J.K. Rowling and all this stuff that WB decided to take a sit back approach on that one. And then when Hogwarts Legacy started selling like gangbusters and all this stuff, then they're like, you know what? We want that type of action for our next DC title.
I also, it's just to piggyback off that, LeRon. I also think it was more Warner Brother WB Games is more of a distributor of the Harry Potter brand and not the overall rights owner. That still belongs to Rowling, and the games belong to Portkey Games, which is the gaming brand of the Wizarding World.
Okay.
And so
that's fair.
I wonder if that had a lot to do with it as well, right? Whereas Warner Brothers straight up owns DC and probably has a lot more hands-on of, hey, we have to do this and not this. And, and I think that maybe that's why Hogwarts Legacy was kind of left to their own accord, and Avalanche to do what they wanted to do, is because Rowling is still very much involved in that game and that story and that lore and that universe. And even if she wasn't involved in the game per se, Portkey Games still has to refer to her lore and her okay, we're going to do this. She has to sign off on it and all that kind of stuff.
That's a very good possibility.
And still, Avalanche, congratulations on that game. Was not expecting it to be that great.
I'm not gonna say it was a fluke, but man, like the way it performed, like it might as well be a fucking fluke.
Dude, the last game they developed was Cars 3 Driven to Win. Okay, which is $6 on the eShop right now. I don't. That's all I'm saying.
You know what though? Okay, so I mean, not to put too fine of a point on it, like we've got over 8,500 people.
Yeah, do you want to run down this list, LeRon?
Okay, sure. Yeah, okay. So shoot, the big dogs right now are Microsoft, having laid off 1,900 people from their workforce. Unity is right behind them with 1,800. Then we've got Sony with 900. Then we've got EA with 670. Twitch has laid off 500 people so far. Twitch, just take that in. They don't even do software. Riot Games 530. Discord has laid off 170 people from their workforce. Playtika is in the range of 300 to 400 people. Lost Boys Interactive 125 people. Pixelberry Studios 120 people. Metaverse World 70. Black Forest Games 50. Raycon Games 60 people. Eidos Montreal 97. That's pretty specific. Sega Interactive America is 61. 91 Act is 60. And Supermassive, which that news was that today or was that 2 days ago?
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday was Sony, Supermassive, and Don't Nod. All had. Yeah. Not Don't Nod, Deck 9. The other Life is Strange developer, all laid off people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that. But the way I feel about this is like, like it honestly like hurts hearing this, especially for like us who our passion is like playing video games, and we kind of thrive in the ecosystem because like we create content based around video games, entertainment, and stuff like that. So this stuff definitely hurts, but at the same time, it's like, man, like like some of these companies are out here acting like shit was too big to fail, and they got slapped in the face by the failure.
Yeah. I think a lot of you look at someone like Microsoft and you wonder how they had so many layoffs. And again, like they've made so many acquisitions that I'm sure a lot of that was just redundancies, right? but also like you lay off an entire team from Blizzard because you canceled their game. You lay off people from Bethesda because certain games didn't perform how you wanted them to. And Game Pass say like, Game Pass is flattening out and nobody's, resubscribing or waiting to resubscribe for a month or so. And now you see them putting games out on other consoles, and it's like, okay, you've clearly invested so much money that you are trying to recoup it other places. And the games you need to recoup that cost are not coming out till either this fall or maybe next year, like the Diablo expansion or a new season of Overwatch or the next Call of Duty or a WoW expansion. Like, because you're clearly not selling battle passes in Halo the way you want to. You're clearly, because that multiplayer is free to play. Your Game Pass numbers have not grown in over 2 years since the last time you announced those numbers, and your numbers have actually decreased because remember they changed their whole Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass Core so they could boost their Game Pass numbers
and made it more expensive, so people dropped.
Yeah, and and also offering your games on PC where you are only getting 70% of every game you sell instead of 100% on your console or your store because nobody wants to use the Microsoft launcher. That it's I don't get it, man. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to be like I'm super businessman or anything, because God knows I know nothing about running a business, but something tells me that these are the ways you do not run businesses.
Well, every business right now is looking to make the quick dollar, and Nintendo luckily has stuck with their guns, and they're just keep doing what they do. They're not jumping in on these like NFTs or live services.
No, but they are coming after companies that they have no business going after.
Oh, they've always done that though.
Yeah, I mean,
that's their other bread and butter.
Yeah. But also you look at the decision, we kind of talked about this on an expansion pass a couple weeks ago, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but once all these layoffs started happening, you saw that quote about, or that kind of headline floating around from when Satoru Iwata took that massive pay cut to keep his employees employed and happy. So, Nintendo could have a foundation for the future. And even though he passed away before the Switch came out, that was like his legacy was this console and the foundation that Nintendo had built to make this console what it is today. Whether you care about Nintendo games or not, whether you play the Switch as your primary console or like once every couple years when a game comes out for you, right? Like you never hear Nintendo laying people off. You never hear about people, like, very rarely do you hear about employees leaving Nintendo. I guess, Nintendo of America, you hear that more than Japan.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Japan has a different culture when it comes to work. Like, you just can't lay people off. But agree, they're also a lot more sustainable with how they're running the business.
Yep.
And you're not. I wish CEOs would take an example of Iwata's, sacrifice, because I feel like, businesses have come to that point now where even if they make a loss, they can't forsake the people who like led the company or their shareholders. They have to still get their, money regardless. So
yeah. And if you're not worried about like your job, losing your job, you're going to be more productive, right? You're going to be happier because your job is secure, and you'll be more productive, and you're more likely to stay. And it's just like the little things like that, but it's a bunch of those little things that add up that make a foundation. And I think that's what Nintendo has from the outside looking in has done. And they've made a lot of smart decisions. They've made a lot of, when they don't have a tentpole game, they have a remake or a remaster come out, and I know how LeRon feels about those, but they've been their strategy of when they release those and at how much and that kind of thing has been really smart,
and also look at their cash handling. They are sitting on a mountain of cash.
11 billion in cash. Yeah.
If they don't need to get loans, they won't.
Yeah.
No. So they don't have to worry about interest payments.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like they're not paying off the loans with those interest rates, so they're making more money at the $50 and $60 price range, and not the $70 aside from Zelda, right?
Yeah.
So, which I mean, that jump's going to happen with the next console. The next Mario game is going to be $70. I hope everybody knows that.
I am fine paying that because it's quality.
Yeah. I think that's another thing too. Is like we could talk about prices of games and what's worth it and what's not, and how people feel about it. But Nintendo always looks at their stuff as a premium product. Well, most of their stuff is premium products.
You're buying a brand, just like Apple.
Yep, it's there. I mean, what I said on Nintendo Power Block last week, Nintendo has hit their Disney status, right? They are a brand, whether you like their stuff or not, whether you think they deserve it or not. They have hit their Disney status. They have their theme parks, they have their movies and cartoons, they have their video games, they have their mascots, they have their leaders. They've hit it. So, LeRon, you want to say something? You look like you have a lot to say.
After us praising Nintendo.
No, something was going on off camera.
All
right. No, I honestly, I'm saddened, and I feel for the people right now in the video game industry, because I guarantee you none of them are sleeping. Well, okay, there's probably 5 people sleeping, comfortably at night, and that's CEOs. But then everyone else is, sleeping in fear. Do I have a job tomorrow?
Yep, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? That's the society we have seemingly set up with publicly traded companies and us being a capitalist society. Which, look, I don't care that people make millions of dollars, right? I mean, if you work hard enough, you deserve it, whatever. But like, I don't know. I think there's got to be a better way for people who aren't at that executive level to be treated fairly. And I know people are throwing out examples of other countries and how they do things, right? But still, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, remind me, how much did Bobby Kotick get when he got separated?
Oh God, it was over $200 million.
Yeah.
Seriously, like for being fired.
Yeah,
being fired.
Now I remember what I was going to say. Remember when the acquisition happened for Activision Blizzard, and Microsoft said they weren't going to let fucking people go?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that
either. Wait, you don't remember that?
I don't remember that specific language. No.
Okay, maybe I'm just living in a different
I did see how they. I do remember them talking about how, they said something along the lines about how acquiring Activision Blizzard wouldn't affect the way that they do business or their employees. So I guess that's where that's at. But
yeah,
honestly, those employees in Activision were probably going to get cut. It's just that now Microsoft owned them, so Microsoft got the.
Okay, now that part I get, but that part I get, but 1,900 people, no.
I mean, a lot. Those layoffs.
A lot of people are also from Microsoft proper. It wasn't just Xbox.
Also, Bobby Kotick is really known for like really hating Microsoft. I don't know if you saw that quote come out, but they said
Kotick was known to be a Bobby Kotick. Bobby.
Fair.
Just Bobby Kotick. He's known to be an asshole.
Like the story that ended up coming out about how they weren't going to put Call of Duty on Xbox unless they gave them an extra 10%. and Microsoft couldn't afford not to do that. And this kind of feels like an extension of that, of where like those layoffs probably should have happened way before at some point. But Bobby Kotick was like, we'll make Microsoft look like the bad guy. I'm leaving, you know?
Okay, you know what? There's logic in that.
But also, like 1,900 jobs is a lot of jobs, and some of that is not. It's not all that is on Bobby Kotick's decisions either. Not that I really care. Not that I'm trying to defend Bobby Kotick here. Just
I'm curious. Well, we're looking at the gaming space here, but I wonder where other tech departments have where other tech companies have.
It's been bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Do we know what Apple's tally is?
I'm not sure what Apple's is. I know Intel, a year ago, laid off a ton of people, including an entire division. AMD laid off some people.
Yeah, I know about the AMD ones.
There's been quite a bit of layoffs. I know we just went through. Broadcom and VMware just went through a whole bunch of layoffs and acquisitions, and more layoffs after acquisitions. So, yeah,
I find it ironic because people making AI, they're essentially training their replacement.
Yes and no. As someone who's learned an awful lot about AI in the last couple of weeks, specifically, and how companies are using it and what it's for, I think so. And we'll get into this on After Dark, because this is actually our After Dark topic. But like, there are some pretty interesting cases that AI is being used that it would be illogical for a human to do these things. We'll say that.
Okay.
But I, as somebody who originally thought that, right, and has learned an awful lot about how companies are using AI. Now, some of it, granted, yes, they are training AI bots to do human jobs, and it is what it is, right? That it's happening. But it doesn't, from the outside learning about it, doesn't seem as bad as it could be. Especially
I grew up on Terminator, so I know just how evil AI is going to get.
So the podcast that I produce for my job, our next podcast that's coming out is about AI, and it's what's it called? It's AI use cases isn't like the movies or something like that. And we actually had someone who runs a greenhouse, like like hundreds of acres greenhouse, who grows strawberries and peppers, and they use AI to monitor these things, and they use it to shift light when stuff gets too ripe, or when it's ready to be picked. They it was really an interesting thing to learn about. I don't want to bore people. I'll probably be sharing it on social media because that's my job, but it's fascinating. But also some of this stuff, like Midjourney and ChatGPT and these companies using AI to generate art and stuff like that is
Sora.
Yeah, Sora.
Oh,
by the way,
Sora is creepy as shit.
It's so funny, that Sora video they used to promote it wasn't even used with Sora, which is hilarious. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, yeah, we were looking at it, and this is far from being it is not trained to do what it wants to do. So but it's scary to think about, what does it look like 5 or 10 years from now? Definitely.
Yeah. I guess to kind of end the conversation with the whole video game industry like falling out, like, do you think video game companies are going to learn their lesson and try to make video games sustainable again, or do you think they're just going to keep making excuses and making the same damn mistake?
Oh, they're gonna learn their lesson, but I think there's gonna be more. I think it's gonna be a lot more making having excuses and making the same mistakes before they learn their fucking lesson. I'm gonna be honest with you, because and this is not me going on some tirade about capitalism, because capitalism, helps me keep the lights on, because I I'm a partner in a business, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, rampant capitalism is like something to worry about, because like in all honesty, like like the fact that these companies are just basically like grinding these people down to dust and stuff, and then kicking them out, like like it's wild, it's insane. And like we said earlier, it's all just because like they have to appease shareholders. They have to, the CEOs are always getting their fucking cuts and all this stuff. I'm all about, if I run a company, I'm all about me getting paid, but at the same time, I can't get paid if there's no fucking workforce and there's no product.
Yeah. Just wait till you hear about AI PCs, LeRon. It's the hot new thing. But you know the old joke, download more RAM.
Download more RAM. Download more RAM.
Yeah, that used to be a joke that maybe it wasn't widespread. Maybe it was just between me and some PC gaming friends.
Okay,
but
I was about to say download some more.
I thought that was like a widespread joke, but apparently it wasn't. Anyways, maybe not download more RAM, but you're going to be able to use RAM in the cloud, and AI is going to try to guess how much you need depending on what you're doing. Anyways, to answer your question though, Pat, I think what's going to happen is these people that are going to be laid off or have been laid off or will be laid off eventually. I'm not trying to spell doom and gloom, but some of these companies
we know it's not done yet.
Have already kind of confirmed that they're going to lay off more people. I think what's going to happen is that the people that do get laid off, or the people that leave because they're upset about layoffs, I think you're going to see some new companies emerge.
We already have.
Yeah, we definitely already have. Like I would point to like someone, and unfortunately they're owned by Embracer Group, so who knows how long they're going to last. But like,
poor guys.
Gunfire Games with Remnant 2, right? That was a massive release for them. But I think you're going to see a lot of new companies emerge and take over what used to be considered the AA space. And I think video games are going to kind of settle in that area, and these big, huge mega corporations who spend these huge budgets are going to lose talent over time to these companies. And, they're going to have to adjust if they want to stay relevant. And granted, the 3 platform holders will always exist in some form or fashion. Their internal studios, who knows? Maybe a 4th player will enter the ring at some point that will actually be a true competitor. I know Apple is kind of trying somewhat. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to see the adjustment come from new players in the space and not necessarily from the players that are existing.
Okay, fair enough.
So, you look at someone like Remedy, right, who spent $30 million on Control, and that was the entire budget of the game. And granted, I know budgets and how money works and how people get paid over there is different and all that kind of stuff. I get it, right? It's different. But you look at it and you look at their operating, how they're operating, and then they go and spend double that on Alan Wake 2. And now Control 2 has a budget of what, less than $70 million, I think. And it's like they made 3 games and under the cost of what Spider-Man cost, right? It's not
only did they make the 3 games, they just bought the rights to Control. So now they have full control of Control.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to try to do that with Quantum Break at some point too. Because I think after the 10-year kind of limit is up, they might go after Quantum Break as well. But I think you're going to start seeing companies like Remedy become bigger in terms of how relevant they are in the space, not in terms of studio size. You're going to see a company like IO who's already kind of expanding. These middle players that you don't really think a lot of, when they're not developing games, not like a Naughty Dog who is in the consciousness all the time for a lot of people. And I think you're going to see them kind of come out and do something really special. And we've already seen a lot of companies do something special. I mean, I would say Remedy is kind of the leader right now with Alan Wake 2, something special, not a big budget, but they sold what, 1.3 million copies, and it's their fastest selling and one of their best selling games ever, which is great to hear. And they're successful at 1.3 million, and you look at Square, who wants to sell 10 million units of every game, or it's a failure. Final Fantasy 16 was a failure to them.
No, they came around and said they actually did see it successful.
Well,
they finally admitted that Final Fantasy 16 was.
They said it didn't meet their expectations, but overall, I guess it sold well for them. The wording was weird.
It's like it didn't sell enough right away.
Yeah.
But in the long run, they have met their goal.
Yeah. So I think you're going to see that. That's my take. So maybe we'll revisit this remake and remaster topic later, because we did go kind of long on this one. But overall, the video game industry has to change. I think a lot of industries have to change. But out of this just implosion, I think you're going to see a lot of cool things come out. And I think we're going to enter another kind of experimental age of video games. Which
new emergence of the neo indie.
Yeah, the neo indie. But with that said, I think we're gonna put a pin in it. We're gonna wrap it up.
Let it cook for a little.
Yep,
a little bit.
Let it simmer. Let it simmer.
Put it in the crock pot. Come back to it when it's done.
Yep. When the timer goes off, shred that chicken. Put it on for another couple hours. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. You can catch new episodes every Monday. If you're a patron at any level, you get this show 1 week early. LeRon, Pat, I appreciate your time tonight, as always. Follow us at Boss Rush Network on all social media. Check out our website, bossrush.net. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Cool new things coming your way soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching and or listening. Until next time. We love you. Goodbye.
So long.
Bye.
Farewell. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.